Hey guys, Nicole here, and I'm back with another process video. This features the June kit from 3 Scrappy Boys. I will provide a link to the store and the blog in the information below the video. And I'm also using a sketch from Nuts About Sketches. This one is number 321, and it went live Monday, June 8th. So by the time you're seeing this video, this particular sketch will be posted on the blog, so you can print it out if you'd like to use it as well. The papers that were included in the June kit from 3 Scrappy Boys featured the Modern Miss papers by Bo Bunny. So I was just going through the papers and deciding what I wanted to use, and I decided to go with this dark sort of charcoal gray wood grain for the background. And I was having a hard time deciding between that one and the blue, just because wood grain is sort of one of my favorite patterns of all time. So anytime I see it, I kind of have this inner urge to hoard it, and I'm trying to just use my papers instead of hoarding them. I went ahead and trimmed out my papers and printed out my journaling on a little strip of yellow double dot paper. And double dot is sort of Bo Bunny's version of cardstock, and I can't get enough of it. I hoard it as well. I use it a lot in classes at my local store, so I tend to have pretty much every color under the sun handy, and I decided to print my journaling on that because it was a very, not plain like cardstock, but not busy like a pattern paper. So I wanted to use that for the center portion of the sketch where the journaling goes, the title goes, and little extra bits and pieces. And here I've taken a stamp from Technique Tuesday, and originally I was going to use a gray ink, and I changed my mind just because it was kind of blending in with my journaling, and I decided to go with this navy by, I believe it's Hero Arts. And you can barely tell that it's even blue, but I didn't have a lighter one on hand, so I just went with it. And then here I'm using the little smaller size ink pad in Pale Tomato to ink up the sort of script word in that stamp so that it's one stamp with 2 different ink colors. And then I'm just going to set that aside and go ahead and kind of lay out my photos. Originally I wanted to splatter white mist on the back of my papers, and the 3 Studio Calico Mr. Hueys that I have, I sort of did like some test sprays on some scratch paper, and an hour later they still weren't dry, so I kind of gave up on that, and I couldn't find my sort of DIY version that I used white acrylic paint and water. Since I couldn't find that, I just decided to take this Mama Elephant stamp set that has these little tiny ink splatters and a white ink pad, and just kind of just do a stamped version, and I ended up liking it a lot. So I'm just going ahead and committing to laying down my photos and my paper, and I wasn't concerned necessarily about everything lining up and sort of being this perfect grid. When I printed out my photos, I just kind of did the mental math, because I did change the photo sizes from what Sean had drawn on the actual sketch. Excuse me. So I just had to kind of just do the mental math as far as how wide I wanted everything. So the photo on the lower left is a little bit smaller than I would have liked, but I just kind of went with it. I wasn't going to reprint one photo just for that. Here I'm just adding a couple extra little spots of ink, since I ended up covering some of them up when I put my photos down. And then I had just trimmed some little strips of the different pattern papers that went with this line. I'm just taking a scallop border punch just to give it a little bit of added interest. And then I'm going to take this red number pattern paper, and I'm just going to cut it into sort of like a pennant or banner shape. Again, just sort of so they're all different patterns and sort of different shapes, and it's basically just an area for the title to rest on. And it's a little bit out of frame, but you can see where I have the sketch sitting on my desk, and it's already buried in products that I've set out. And I do this almost every single time. Like, I will start out working with a sketch, and I'll look at it and I'll follow it and I'll get this game plan in my head and get all my stuff set out. And once I get going, I lose the sketch on my desk. So I almost involuntarily sort of use the sketch as a sounding board and then just kind of do my own thing, which most people do on purpose. Me, no. I lose it on my desk, and then at the end, I'm like, oh, hey, the title was supposed to go here, or oops, I didn't add that. But I usually end up liking the layout, and it kind of ends up being maybe more personal, like more my style by the time I get done. So I'm kind of okay with that. I mean, I do try to keep the sketch out where I can see it because I am on their design team and I'm supposed to use the sketch. But again, sketches are basically your interpretation of it. Whether you rotate it or you completely flip it or you omit photos or you add photos. So it's more of like a personal thing that I feel kind of bad that if I don't use the sketch like as is, but I'm getting over that. Especially since I know that getting out of that habit is just difficult for me to not have this giant mess on my desk while I'm creating. I don't know that I'll ever be one of these people that does, process video and everything's very neat and orderly and everything's in the frame and it's great to watch. No, I am a hot mess. Like, you can clearly see all kinds of stuff going on here. You can see that I have buried the sketch and I don't even notice. I've got stuff from other layouts laying around. I don't even realize that my fat head is getting in the way. And here, I'm just putting my title on top of those little strips of paper, and everything on this layout other than the yellow Bo Bunny cardstock paper came in my kit. So I was really excited to see those Jelly Bean Soup alphas because they're sort of like a thin cardboard plastic material, and I've seen them in Nicole Jones's videos, and she subscribes to, I want to say, Scraptastic. So I've seen them in other people's videos, but my local store doesn't get them, and I hadn't had a chance to order them online. So I was really excited to see that Heather from 3 Scrappy Boys had included them in the kit. And she also included those little tiny gray alphas, which are also from Jelly Bean Soup, and I really like them. I had never seen sort of like a smaller amount of letters, and it seems like it's a nice amount. Like, it's not the 6x12 sheet of these alphas that you think you're never going to be able to completely use. And while I do like them, they are kind of a pain in the butt to put down, especially if you don't have, I don't have tweezers, so I just kind of use my finger. And since there's no apostrophes in these type of letters, so I just kind of left a little tiny gap, and that's sort of my grammatical fix to my title, which I don't really think my title makes a whole lot of sense, but the story that I was scrapping wasn't my story. So I was just kind of going with it, and I kind of had to come up with what I wanted to put on the title. So iHop, It's for Dinner ended up being the title. And here I'm just using some Zig liquid adhesive to glue down those letters, and then just grabbing whatever I can find on my desk to kind of hold them down while they dry. And the only thing that I would say that I don't like about those Jelly Bean Soup letters, the larger ones that I spelled iHop with, and I didn't realize this until I went digging for the letters, but you don't get upper and lowercase in every letter. It was like you would get a lowercase a and an uppercase b, and then all of the C's were lowercase, all of the D's were uppercase. So I kind of got lucky that I was spelling a word that most of the letters only came in capitals, and then the I obviously only came in a lowercase, so it kind of looks like an Apple product, like, an iPod, an iPhone, kind of like that. And my niece and nephew have iPhones, so I thought that was kind of cute that, I'm using photos of them, it's their story, and I don't know if that's something that they'll pick up on or not. This washi tape also came in my kit, and I cut off the packaging already. I want to say it's Glitz Designs. These chipboard and plastic buttons are from the Bo Bunny Modern Miss collection, and you get half of a package in the kit. So I just pre-tied a couple of the buttons with some twine before I started the video, so you don't have to watch me thread a button for 10 minutes. And then the regular enamel dots came from my May kit from 3 Scrappy Boys, and the hearts and parentheses were in the June kit. And those tickets I had fussy cut out of one of the pattern papers, and I'm just kind of trying to decide where I want to put them. And I'm going to put them in that lower left-hand corner to try to kind of camouflage the fact that that photo is a little bit smaller than I intended. And once I got them arranged how I wanted them, I was too scared to set them down and see if I could glue them back together. So I just grabbed my tiny attacher and just put a couple staples in them to hold them still, and then I'm just gonna cover the staples up with one of those buttons. And then I'm just gonna grab some glue dots to hold those down, since it was a little bit bulkier, especially with the staples being in there. And then I'm gonna tuck that 4th ticket that I cut out and just kind of peel up that washi tape carefully and tuck it behind there. And I thought about using some of these metal phrases there. And I thought about using some of these metal phrases that also came in my kit, and then I just decided it was too much. And here I'm just putting some enamel dots here and there. I don't follow rules where a lot of people will put the same embellishment in 3 different areas, or 3 enamel dots somewhere. Those things like trapped white space, stuff like that, I don't get. I just I wing it. I don't know. And then here I took a red Copic marker and attempted to color one of those enamel hearts, and I let it dry for a few minutes, and when I came back to it, it was very sticky, and I really did not want to put that on the layout, because I kind of felt like once I put it in the page protector, it was going to leave this sticky red dot on the page. So I just took a baby wipe, and I was actually able to wipe off all the ink that I had put on it, and then I just ended up going with a gold one, and I just stuck it in the O for iHop, mostly just because I really wanted to use them because they were cute. So here's a couple close-up shots of the journaling and the title area and the different clusters around the page, and another shot of the entire layout put together. Again, be sure to look below the video for links to Nuts About Sketches if you're looking for a new sketch site, and 3 Scrappy Boys if you are interested in viewing these kits or the online store. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.